the person who is winning and the person who is losing. Winning and losing. Do you want to win at life, or do you want to lose at life? The answer to that question is only for you. The rest of us will never know. And our actions answer this question every day. Do you get energized when you talk about your wins, or do you get energized when you talk about your losses? Everybody wants to be significant, and each of us has the freedom to choose how we go about achieving this significance. There's only two ways: through fortune or through misfortune, through wins or through losses. Here at the Carter Hughes Knowledge Institute, the beliefs and principles that we share are uncommon. Yes, we share radical, uncommon beliefs such as you are valuable. Your opinion and your ideas are valuable. You are capable of achieving amazing things. Unfortunately, this may not be the kind of significance that most people seek. So what is winning and what is losing? Glad you asked. These definitions of losing and winning are taken from Dr. James and Dr. John Gord's findings based on transactional analysis from their 1971 bestseller, Born to Win. 1971. As of right now, that was 53 years ago, and it's still useful today. Shout out to Dr. Muriel James and Dr. Dorothy John Gord. And I believe that if we all sat down and thought about what was best for all of us as a community, that there's a good chance that these behaviors would align with what we call winning and what we call losing. We must first acknowledge a basic truth. Each of us is born as something new, something that never existed before. Each of us is born with the capacity to win at life. Each of us has a unique way of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and thinking. Each has his or her own unique potentials, unique capabilities, and unique limitations. Each can be a significant, thinking, aware, and creative being, a productive person. Each person can win. Winning and losing are a matter of degree, and we spend most of our lives going back and forth between the two. But let's talk about winning. The most important thing about winning is not achievement, it is authenticity. The authentic person experiences self-reality by knowing, being, and becoming a credible, responsive person. Authentic people actualize their own unprecedented uniqueness and appreciate the uniqueness of others. Authentic persons do not dedicate their lives to a concept of what they should be. Rather, they are themselves and do not use their energy putting on performance, maintaining pretense, or manipulating others. The person who is winning can reveal themselves instead of projecting images that please, provoke, or entice others. The person who is winning is aware that there is a difference between being loving and acting loving, between being stupid and acting stupid, between being knowledgeable and acting knowledgeable. The person who is winning does not need to hide behind any mask. They throw off unrealistic self-images of inferiority or superiority. Autonomy does not frighten the person who is winning. All people have moments of autonomy, if only fleeting. However, the person who is winning is able to sustain their autonomy over ever-increasing periods of time. The person who is winning may lose ground occasionally and may even fail. Yet, in spite of setbacks, the person who is winning maintains a basic self-confidence. The person who is winning can separate facts from opinions, and the person who is winning does not pretend to have all the answers. The person who is winning listens to others, evaluates what others have to say, and then the person who is winning comes to their own conclusions. Although the person who is winning can admire and respect other people, they are not totally defined, demolished, bound, or awed by other people. The person who is winning knows that for everything there is a season, and for every activity there is a time. A time to be aggressive, and a time to be passive. A time to be together, and a time to be alone. A time to fight, and a time to love. A time to work, and a time to play. A time to cry, and a time to laugh. A time to comfort, and a time to withdraw. A time to speak, and a time to be silent. To the person who is winning, time is precious. The person who is winning knows their past, are alive and aware in their present, and look forward to their future. The person who is winning learns to know their feelings and limitations and learns to be unafraid of them. The person who is winning is not stopped by their own contradictions or ambivalences. Being authentic, they know when they are angry, and they can listen when others are angry with them. The person who is winning can give and receive affection. The person who is winning is able to love and able to be loved. The person who is winning does not have to respond in predetermined, rigid ways, but they can change their plans when the situation calls for it. The person who is winning has a zest for life, enjoying work, play, food, other people, sex, and the world of nature. Without guilt, they enjoy their own accomplishments. And without envy, they enjoy the accomplishments of others. Although the person who is winning can freely enjoy themselves, they're also able to postpone enjoyment, and they can discipline themselves in the present so they can enhance their enjoyment in the future. The person who is winning is not afraid to go after what they want, and they do so in appropriate ways. The person who is winning does not get their security by controlling others. The person who is winning cares about the world and cares about the people. The person who is winning is not isolated from the general problems of society, but they are concerned, compassionate, and committed to improving the quality of life, even in the face of national or international adversity. The person who is winning, self-image, is not one of a powerless individual. The person who is winning works to make the world a better place. So what about losing? You see, while each of us is born helpless as humans, the person who is winning successfully makes that transition from helplessness to independence, and then from independence to interdependence. Somewhere along the line, the person who is losing begins to avoid becoming responsible for their own lives. Most of us are winning in some areas of our lives and losing in some areas of our lives. The winning or losing is often influenced by what happens to us during our childhood, during our upbringing. The normal progress toward autonomy and self-actualization becomes halted as a reaction to the loser script that the young person is being raised with. In an attempt to avoid negative experiences, the young person learns to manipulate themselves and manipulate others. The person who is losing is unable to shed these childish habits as they continue to age. And these habits are indeed natural for a child. The person who is winning works to shed these habits, while the person who is losing hangs on to these habits. The person who is losing often speaks of themselves with negative disclaimers. Successful but anxious. Successful but stressed out. Successful but unhappy. This is the loser script that they were raised with, attempting to attach itself to all happenings. The person who is losing seldom lives in the present. Instead, they destroy the present by focusing on past memories or future expectations. The person who is losing, who lives in the past, dwells on the good old days or on past personal misfortunes. The person who is losing is self-pitying, and they shift the responsibility for an unsatisfactory outcome onto others. Blaming others and excusing oneself are often a part of loser games. The person who is losing, who lives in the past, may lament, "If only I had a different job. If only I had finished school. If only I had been born rich." A person who is losing, who lives in the future, may dream of some miracle after which they can live happily ever after. When Prince Charming arrives, when school is over, when the kids grow up, rather than pursuing their own lives, the person who is losing waits for the magical rescue. In contrast to those who live with the delusion of a magical rescue, some people who are losing choose to live constantly under the dread of future catastrophe. They conjure up expectations of, what if? What if I lose my job? What if they don't like me? What if I make a mistake? By continually focusing on the future, the person who is losing experiences anxiety in the present. They are anxious over what they anticipate. Persons who are overwhelmed in their imagination may let the actual possibilities of the moment pass them by. They occupy their minds with material that is irrelevant to the current moment. Anxiety attempts to tune out the current reality. Consequently, these people are unable to see for themselves, hear for themselves, feel for themselves, or taste, touch, or think for themselves. And since they are unable to bring the full potential of their senses into the immediate situation, the person who is losing, their perceptions are often incorrect or incomplete. Their ability to deal effectively with the real world is hampered. The person who is losing spends much of their time play acting, pretending, manipulating, and perpetuating old roles from childhood. The person who is losing is afraid to try new things, and instead they maintain their own status quo. The person who is losing is a repeater, repeating not only their own mistakes, but often the mistakes of their families and their cultures as well. The person who is losing has difficulty giving and difficulty receiving affection, and they do not enter into intimate, honest, direct relationships with others. Instead, the person who is losing tries to manipulate others into living up to his or her expectations. Their energy is often channeled into living up to the expectations of others. Like the frog and the prince, the person who is losing is spellbound, and they live their life being something they were never meant to be. Now, we each have the power to change our behavior. We can continue to explore and define who we are, and we can use our talents to improve things for others. We can each reduce our losing behaviors, and we can each increase our winning behaviors. Remember, we each have at least a little bit of both. We're merely suggesting that we monitor the degree and make the adjustments to make sure we are doing more winning than losing. Thank you.